What's good, everybody? It's the Real AG back at you on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. And with week 8 of the fantasy and NFL season quickly approaching this weekend, we are at that midpoint for the fantasy season where things are starting to get real tight as you're getting towards those playoff implications and important matchups. So with that, we wanted to bring you a new segment we are dubbing the Workhorse Wonders, just noting those players that have juicy, primo matchups during the playoff window, weeks 14 through 16 or 17, depending on how your league's set up. So wanted to note some guys that you could consider potentially trying to make a move for as you're pushing for the playoffs, or if you have them on your team already, you can feel pretty comfortable that you're going to be in a good spot should you make it to the big dance. So just getting right into it, our Workhorse Wonders quarterbacks, we have Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions, obviously in a high-octane offense. Just looking at the matchups he has in that playoff window, you have the Dallas Cowboys, who just give up a plethora of passing yards, the LA Rams, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Minnesota Vikings. So looking pretty good for Goff during those weeks. And then Matt Stafford, injury concerns aside heading into the season, he has been pretty dominant from a fantasy standpoint when he has his full arsenal of weapons. And looking at who he has in those playoff windows, you got Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, Seattle Seahawks, and Atlanta Falcons. And moving down to the running backs, we have Josh Jacobs with the Packers. I mean, he is workhorse back for the Packers, pun intended, perhaps. But the offense pretty much goes through Josh Jacobs. And looking at who he has the Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos, the Chicago Bears again, and then the Baltimore Ravens, who everyone knows what that defense can't do right now. And then Quinshon Judkins with the Browns, kind of been the unsung hero for them at this point, been compounding week in and week out and building off what he does in the previous week. And just looking at who he draws during that playoff window, you have the Tennessee Titans, Chicago Bears, Buffalo Bills, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving on to wide receivers, we have Emeka Ibuka, the dog in Tampa Bay, and looking at who he has in that window, you got the Saints, Falcons, Carolina Panthers, and Miami Dolphins. And then Drake London with the Falcons. I mean, he is the bell cow wide receiver for Atlanta, if for the lack of a better term there. But he has Seattle, Tampa Bay, Arizona, and the Rams. And then our two workhorse wonder tight ends, we have Jake Ferguson, the dominant tight end for the Cowboys right now. He has the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers, and Washington Commanders. And then Dalton Kincaid, kind of the number one target for Josh Allen. He has the Bengals, the Patriots, the Browns, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So that wraps up our Workhorse Wonders, ladies and gentlemen. As always, please like the channel, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel.